Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with Hollister, Tyrone, and Menelik. Unfortunately, Menelik's phone is dying, so is with me. So you're gonna see me talk. It's gonna be like, oh, Michael's talking a lot, which I do sometimes, but Menelik will also be part of that because he'll be, speaking on my mic. Pause. So anyway,
Oh my
we're gonna
God.
talk about the Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. fight in that fight card. It was a good experience. I was at my parents' house yesterday with my daughter, spent time with my brothers and my sister, and my mom, and my dad, and we watched the fight. My sister decided to purchase the fight, and we watched it, and it was dope. I'm glad I watched it because at first I was going to do like what Tyrone and Hollister probably done, which is going to just find a site that will help with the viewing of the
Yeah, we was
the
gonna buy the
stuff.
we was gonna buy the pay per view.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying, like that. You know what I mean? Buy
Yeah,
the
we got
pay-per-view.
in late, so we trying. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying, with the cards and stuff. But anyway, at the end of the day, it was a good fight card. We had some guys that thing, and Nate Robinson got washed, but we'll get into all of that right now. So Menelik, since you're here, overall on the card, what was your take on it?
All right, so like you said, it was definitely entertaining. I think they did a good job putting everything together. It was definitely more than I expected, a little more, you know, polished in a sense, organized than I was originally thinking it might have been. But obviously they had some good fights. They had Badu Jack and the other guy, and the fight before that one as well with was it Ortiz and the other guy, Segawa or whatever. But obviously the highlights were the Nate Robinson, Jake Paul, and the Tyson and Roy Jones. So yeah, the Nate and Jake Paul, man, I know we're gonna get into it. So I was just saying that one was entertaining to say the least. Definitely didn't go how I was expecting it. But yeah. And then as far as Tyson and Jones, I think they both look good. I mean, obviously for being 50 something year olds, they're not in their prime. Tyson ain't fighting 15 years. Roy ain't fighting like 3. But they showed shades and flashes of them old selves, like you see the moves which were impressive for as far as speed and power for their age. It wasn't maybe as fast or as powerful as them in their primes, but I think they put on a good show, and I'm glad, Tyson was able to, put this whole thing together and what he's trying to do with the legends only. I could see some potential there with what he's doing. So yeah, I'll just go there with that, and I guess we'll get into details later. But yeah.
So yeah, Hollister, you can go ahead. I know you've seen it. Tyrone, I know you said you didn't really see it, but come clips, so I'll go to you last before I get my impressions. But Hollister.
it was really entertaining. Like the whole setup with the commentary. You had Israel Adesanya, then you had these other guys, and you had what's the guy? I forgot the guy name. One of the
Sugar Ray
boxing.
Leonard? Sugar Ray
Yeah,
Leonard? Dang, so you know
yeah,
the legend? Go ahead.
Then you had Snoop Dogg doing the commentary. Then you had the guys performing. You had YG performing. Snoop Dogg. It was really good. Like with the whole build up, like every fight they give, get the fans a little entertainment. Yeah, Wiz Khalifa, getting everybody ready for the next fight. And it was really good. The whole Nate Robinson, like you said, we're gonna get to that.
Yeah,
And
man,
then,
we'll get to that.
the other guys on the card was really good as well too. The up and coming guys, they got some exposure. A lot of people, ordered the fight for Tyson and Roy Jones, and they got to see these other guys as well too, which is a plus for them. And seeing Tyson and Roy Jones was and for the two guys that's 54 and 51, they really did their thing for their age, and they
Yeah,
just definitely show they still got it, but not like in their prime days, but they still have a lot. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
that's good. So Tyrone, I know based on what you saw, like what was your impressions and takes on it?
Yeah, I skimmed through because I had little Wi-Fi difficulties yesterday, so I didn't get to see it live. I kind of heard the results after, but I didn't watch any of the other uh, prelim fights until I only saw the Nate Robinson fight, which we'll get into after, and Roy and Mike. I was just so happy. It was more of a nostalgia thing because those are the guys that we grew up watching. Roy Jones, a
Yeah,
lot of people know is A lot of people know Roy Jones is my all-time favorite boxer. I know a lot of people hear me talk about Mayweather. I love Floyd, but Floyd is probably like one of my top three. But number one is always Roy Jones. In his prime, he was probably people were wondering if he was the greatest of all time in his prime. Like he couldn't be touched. He had the hand speed, the power, everything. They couldn't touch him. But when when they went out there to fight last night, it just reminded me of how great these fighters were to just watch them in the ring. And for two guys that was in their early 50s, they moved pretty well. Although they were in there with another 50-year-old, it wasn't like they
Yeah.
were in there with a current fighter. But for
Yeah.
people that, they trained hard for it and they look good, especially Tyson, he looked real good for somebody 15 years not in the ring.
Yeah, I
Roy
mean,
was still kind of active, even though he was fighting a lot of lesser fighters and he was way past his prime. But for
yeah.
a guy like Mike, that's who everybody really was looking to see because Mike hasn't been in the ring for a while and people know the kind of person that Mike is. So it was pretty good to see Mike
Mm.
in there and still moving the way he was moving. So I was really happy to see that, and
Yeah.
I was happy. I mean, I heard a lot of people say that Tyson won the fight, but I don't think that's what the whole objective of that was. I think it was just for entertainment and to donate to charity. So I don't really think the winner was really a big issue to
Mm.
me. And even though Tyson looked like he did more work to me too.
Yeah.
And I think the draw was like an entertainment type of result. They was just doing that like, listen, they're both winners, they're both legends. They were just paying homage to both guys to me. So it was just great to see. And more importantly, none of them got hurt seriously, which was
Yeah.
everybody's fear, being that they both are in their 50s and Mike hasn't been in the ring in too long. And Roy Jones has had a lot of knockout losses in his career, and he's fighting one of the, if not the greatest knockout artists ever. So a lot of people had fear of that. So it was just good to see them both walk out the ring healthy. So I was
That's
just
good.
happy for that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And Hollister, I got that pick. We gonna get into that, and it's so deflating seeing it. But at the same time, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I was really excited for this pay-per-view, and it did record numbers. This whole Legend League thing, I think, is going to be a success, depending on who they get involved with it and everything like that. I think that will be a good look for not only Mike Tyson and his brand, but also with other guys that want to get involved. I know he was saying something the other day, Mike Tyson, in interviews, like, why is it that a guy like Jerry Rice for something like he maybe runs that 440, like he runs a 40-yard dash like maybe a few seconds slower than a new guy, but he can't play in the NFL anymore. Why is that? Like, why can't he have the opportunity to perform and compete and get that thing that's in him tamed and released and stuff? I was like, that's true, that's great, but excuse me, it's a little bit more than that with them hits. But at the end of the day, I feel them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then Roy Jones also said yesterday, yo, how would it be like to see it? I'll pay to see Michael Jordan, just say Michael Jordan versus Dominique 1-on-1 at their age. You know what I'm saying? I'll pay to, they might not be able to play for a long time, but able to see that'd be cool. You know what I'm saying? As long as nobody get hurt or have no heart attack, but Roy Jones being funny. So it was good to see. And like you said, Tyron, it's like, we grew up watching these guys. Like Roy Jones, he was the man in the 90s. Mike Tyson, 80s to early 90s. And even when he came back, sometime in the 2000s, people still wanted to flock to see his fight. He just didn't have it in him anymore. And he came out there, he looked really good to me. We'll get more details of the fight. And he looked in great shape, better shape than Roy Jones to me. And I felt that he did win the fight. I felt that he did control it. But they agreed to that kind of stipulation and the whole thing that they did and stuff like that. But as far as the overall pay-per-view, I enjoyed it. I've always been like this when I watch fights. I hate all like the hype tape joint. They gotta play like 20 minutes before the fighters come out. They playing this stuff and they're like, oh, look at this, Roy Jones. And they having like Roy Jones when he's a kid and Mike Tyson when he was growing up jumping rope. Like I hate that kind of like build up. I understand they want to get you hype for the fight, but we're already here. I'm hype already. I want to watch it. You know what I'm saying? The YGs and all them cats and them performing. I could have deal without that. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. It's for the performance and they doing their thing and there's no crowd in there. But it is what it is. Like, but I'm just gonna run through like some of the quick. I'm not gonna talk about the undercard because I didn't really watch the undercard, but I wanted to just run down like something in regards to the card itself. So the main card had Jermaine Ortiz versus Soleimani Segawa, and that fight was pretty decent. Segawa got TKO'd in the 7th round with a body shot, and it was a nice body shot too. And he was working him. And, he got him out of there. And I wanted Segawa to win. He was looking good at the beginning, but boxing, you got to keep that condition and do your thing. Then had a Bottle Jack versus Blake McKernan. Like this cat Blake, man, he would not be defeated. So like he got washed, but he would not get dropped. And he's a ex-military guy, probably still currently in the military, but he had a lot of heart. And that Bottle Jack really showed him like, yo, there's levels to this. You 13-0, but you was fighting a lot of trash cans and up and comers, or you find the big dog. I actually fought for a belt, right? And now we're going to get into, because we're going to save Mike Tyson, Roy Jones for last. Or should we save the Nate? No, let's save Nate and Jake Paul, because there's a lot of other little things that get involved with that I want to dissect. But as far as the Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, there was a lot of controversy about, they wanted to fight, the 3-minute rounds. And, Roy Jones came out and said, oh, that's for women. The women fight the 2-minute round, and people was getting on him that. They almost canceled that cat for that. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, hey, they came out there, they did their thing, they looked sharp, they looked good. But I just want to go over what the contract said with their fight, so we can have an understanding as to what really went down. So you have, in their fight, they agreed to no knockouts, no judges, no winner to be declared. Fight ends immediately if a fighter gets cut. 8 2-minute rounds. It's a sparring exhibition match, not a fight. We all know that Mike Tyson was coming to fight. He wasn't going to come in like do no pity pat with Roy. And Roy Jr. knows that, and they boxers, so they want to compete, but they're going to agree to all these stipulations, obviously, because they're trying to get this bread. So I expected them not to be a winner unless somebody got clearly knocked out like Nate Robinson, which we will talk about more a little bit later. But as you said, Tyrone, earlier, I think, they both came in there looking all right. I mean, Floyd was doing a no-look jab and stuff like that, but that wasn't really working on Mike. But Mike, to me personally, still had a lot of that spring in it. Obviously not as fast, not as quick, but he still had a lot of that spring, and you could see the technique and the skill, like all muscle memory that he was doing. Even when he overextend on a punch, the man automatically jumps back to get back in front of his opponent. Like little things like that the average person might not notice, he was doing that, and I like to see that. Same thing with Roy. He'll get in there, throw a little combination real quick, and then tie up, because he knew that Mike was coming and hitting him with some hard shots. And Roy kind of looked kind of shifty during the fight, but it is what it is. But Menelik, since you're here, you can give your critique as well.
Yeah, so just to go into more details back on the same, Roy and Tyson fight. Yeah, Tyson looked spry. He was controlling, I feel like, the match a little bit more. Roy was, being crafty in a sense, tying him up when he had to not take too much punishment. He was still, doing some of his moves, like the no look jab, like coming at him from different angles and, getting him with the little punches and the clinch to the body and doing certain other things. And it's like you saw, like I said, some of their old techniques. It was a little slower, but, it was still there. And, I think they did a good job. I think, like Tom was saying, that overall, the idea was kind of to have those guys go out there and entertain, put on a show. It wasn't really about, somebody particularly winning or losing. And, I think they were able to entertain enough without, it going, too far, going too deep. And, as far as also thinking about, the winner and the judges and things like that, I know as far as it being an exhibition, they had also said that they originally were supposed to wear headgear, but, Tyson and Roy was like, nah, we're not doing that. Like, so, they were game. And like I said, for them being early in their early 50s, I think what they did was impressive. It's something to, respect. They just certified legends, and they showed that, even at this stage of their lives, that, they could still go out there and do their thing. As far as, repeat, like either them doing a rematch or them fighting other people, things like that. I mean, I think they showed there's a market for that. Obviously, like to Tom's point earlier, like I don't think people will want to see a 50-something-year-old Tyson fighting a 20-year-old. But, if he fighting other legends around his age or, older fighters with skill, that, you know, they were saying Holyfield mentioned he want to fight again, or, you know, things like that. You know, if they could pull off maybe some events like that, or even for some other athletes, you know, it has been a little bit of a thing. You know, Ice Cube did the whole big three thing for, you know, former basketball players, and that was pretty popular as well. So I mean, it gives these guys, some of them who maybe squandered their money, an opportunity to still, you know, be out there and kind of recoup, and the other people would just, you know, give them something to do. Not everybody could be a commentator or an analyst, you know. There's only so many of those jobs out there. So I mean, I think it was a good look. I think it was a good look for, you know, athletes, for production, and just, you know, overall. So
yeah, I agree. And Hollis, I want you to get your take on it, but just to segue and to jump in what Malik was saying, actually, you're right. It's like, you know, is a market for that. So go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking the same thing as he said it too. Like with the Ice Cube, with the whole big three, I kind of see this as like the boxing version of this. Like, you know, certain guys that can't make it, you know, through the other process, they could try, you know, this way. Like, all right, they could go like Tyson, you know, organize the whole thing. All right, Mike Tyson is a Hall of Fame. Everybody knows him. People will start to watch, and you know that will help develop them and progress them as well too. But like for the guys for the age, they did show a lot of their stuff from like they had in their prime. They didn't really lose a step besides the speed. They still got the power in their hands. It was very entertaining. I think if people really look at the contract, they will get a better understanding, because a lot of people was upset that nobody got knocked out. I
Yeah.
had to explain to some people, I'm like, these guys are in their 50s. They would have tried to knock each other out. One of them could have possibly died. Like, nobody wants that on their hands.
I mean, Mike was trying to knock him out, and you could
He
tell by
did.
they were trying to knock each other out. But Roy know he could knock out Mike. He just had to like really point him out and pepper him. But Mike was trying to take his head off. It's just that Roy's a skilled boxer, and he know how to roll them punches.
Yeah, like Malik said, they did it for entertainment. Like, everybody was entertained. You know, some people are upset, but that's how stuff goes. It was entertaining. Like, hopefully they'll keep this going. You know, get some other fighters. You know, to show that they still got it.
Yeah,
keep it going.
I agree. Tyrone?
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to me. I read a lot of reviews about it. People had it beat expectations.
Yeah.
Just from what I read, I enjoyed it. It was just fun. It was just, to be honest with you, it was just fun seeing them in a ring, even if it's for the last time. Like Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr.
I agree.
Like, come on, man. Just hearing those names, it was just fun. I mean, I don't really have a good analysis on the fight because I skimmed through it because I knew the result. So I was kind of like skimming through a couple of rounds. There was some rounds I didn't watch, and I was watching close to the end. I know Mike was beating up Roy with some body shots, and Roy, like, damn near sounded like he was dying in the interview because he was in body shots. So I know Mike still he still got that body work that he used to do on them guys back in the day. So it was just great to see them. Just glad to see them healthy. And to be honest with you, that's all I got to say about it. I'm just happy that they both came out of it, because Stephen A was on First Take the other day talking about he's scared Roy gonna die and all that. I'm like, it's not that serious, man. Like, he was really legitimately concerned, talking about Roy might die. Like, come on, bro. Yeah. Mike is. I mean, it was an exhibition. I don't know what he thought was going to happen, but I didn't think nothing was going to happen to either one of them. I was just hoping nobody like tore like a muscle or anything like that. And I did hear about them having rules, so I kind of knew it wouldn't be the slugfest that people thought it would be.
Yeah.
So overall, I was just happy that they all got out of it, and they raised some money for it, and it was just fun. And I mean, the draw, I mean, we all know that the draws are not popular in boxing. I'm pretty sure they're not popular in UFC either, but draws are not popular in boxing. So, it was for the fans, man. There's nothing you could do about that. So everybody just enjoy the fact that you got to see Mike and Roy, especially Mike, because people have seen Roy, but Mike was definitely out for so long.
Yeah.
So it's just good to see them.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I remember when Anna was saying that too. And she was like, oh, how every time you see the clip, they always talking about Tyson. Everything's Tyson. And it was like, look, it's his thing. At the end of the day, people do care about Roy. But like you said, Roy, it's been recent. Like, Mike Tyson haven't fought since 2005. So it was like, to see him in the ring and then the way he was looking, and everybody know like the animal that Mike Tyson was, and like the demons he said he had to overcome, and the ego, and how he feels like this warrior, and like the the god of war had rewoken him and stuff like that. And I felt that with this whole fight, he took it very seriously, and I think those rules were rules that they came up with to make it, I think, sanctionable, meaning that the Nevada, or state commission, or the California, whatever, commission will make sure they allow them to fight, because it's like, look, man, we don't want you guys, y'all at this age fighting each other. We don't want nobody dying. We don't want nobody getting hurt. So you guys have to, agree to these rules. And I do feel that both Roy and Mike was like, all right, we'll agree to it, but it is what it is when we get in there, because they professionals, they've been fighting, and they're gonna do what they're gonna do. But to your point, Sean, I was looking at it. I'm glad that everybody's okay. I'm glad nobody's hurt like significantly. But to me, and I was saying this yesterday, and not trying to say the outcome would have been any different, because I still think Mike would have won, and I do believe he won the fight. But Roy Jones Jr., even coming into the ring, he looked kind of like out of it. He looked like he was already like yoked. Like he looked kind of like he had a speed knot in the back of his head. He had like, he was like throwing up. He just didn't look like 100%. And then when he was in there, he was fighting. You know what I mean? And I saw like some of them shots he was taking, like in them body shots. I was trying to explain, people who don't understand fighting, they think, oh, he's just hitting the body. What's the problem? Like body shots wear you out, man. You get tired quick and exhausted. And Roy Jones said, oh, he hit. He's like, everything he hit, but it's his head. He said, body shots, his punches, the face, everything hurts. He said, I'm gonna have to think about it again, because Mike Tyson, we could do this again. We have to do it again. I felt I won, and Roy said he felt he won. Obviously gonna say that. I think that stuff was kind of rehearsed, but they already knew going into it there was going to be. They said both of them was going to get a belt. They said it's going to be a draw. They already had all this stuff lined up. So they kind of threw in the commission thing at the end, like saying like, oh, based on what the commission, the voluntary commission people who watched the fight is going to say. They kind of made it like, oh, they said it's a draw, because most people who watch the fight know that based on what they saw, Mike won. I mean, you got some Roy Jones fans saying that Roy kind of edged him out, but everybody's seen it. You know what I'm saying? Roy was grappling them and doing whatever, but it was a good fight nonetheless, and I'm happy that both of them.
Let me interrupt you for a second. You were talking about a speed knot. Roy's always had that in the back of his head. It's just a pointy part of his head. I ain't gonna let you play my boy.
Nah, it looked different, son. Like
you gotta
because he had haircut. This time he was bald, but that joint looked like really like somebody knotted him up with that.
Now he always used to rock a fade or something. He had the bald head towards it like later on in his career, but even back, if you look at some old Roy, he always had that little point in the back of his head. It's not a speed, all right?
Thank you for telling me.
How you playing my boy like that?
Nah, man, I like Roy too. I was just gonna say, but it looked mad prominent. I guess the camera people.
He always
been on that joint, so like yo, like it's he always had what's going to happen. But Stephen A, I felt like a lot of people. Look, don't get me wrong, it's a combat sport. Obviously, people in that age group, you want to be careful. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like Mike Tyson, Roy Jones will wash anybody in the street. Anybody. They still got the speed. They still got the skill set and the power. They'll wash anybody in the street. But to compete against like an Anthony Joshua, even though I think Anthony Joshua got a paper mache chin. He got a paper mache chin. But Tyson, at the end of the day, I think Tyson will wash it too. But I just look at it from the perspective like he is a younger fighter. He a little bit more durable. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that even with basketball, like you want to play, and like people like MJ that say Mike, let's say he was to say I'm gonna join the Legends League and play one-on-one against LeVar Ball, right? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he's still I'm just throwing that name out to be funny, but he's still playing. But you still got to look at the other aspects of it, like the cardiovascular thing, the lifestyle Michael Jordan lived with the cigars and the drinking and like not getting enough sleep. Like you don't know how that takes a toll on your body. So I understand why these players, and you realize that you get older, like, you can't do it as much anymore. Like I used to be able to play ball all day, and to the point that I couldn't even walk home. That's how long I played ball in the park. Now I'm playing ball, like, every so I haven't played for a while, but when I was playing, like I'll play multiple times in a week, but my body ain't recovering like how I used to. You get what I'm saying?
I don't even play ball no more.
You know what I'm saying? So you get what I'm saying? So like I look at it even for me, like you in our town, we up there, we gonna be pushing 40 soon, and it's like even that I'm looking like I still got at least, if I'm in my 40s, still at least good 10 years to still kind of hoop to a certain ability. But even then, when you get to like 50, you got to start really looking at things a little bit differently. You can't do it.
You better than me, because I think I got at least one game left. I got a game left.
So I gotta go to the Legends League and play like one game. Like,
I gotta play with the late 40 guys. Man.
Need extensive long load management.
I put on a lot of weight since I stopped playing basketball on a regular. A
Yeah.
lot. I mean, I'm not big like that, but I mean, compared to what I used to weigh when I was younger, I put on a lot more weight. A lot of it muscle, but still.
Yeah. I mean, look, and then as you get older, you're not as flexible, so you got to really be careful. Even with me, like I'm getting stronger, but I got to make sure I'm flexible because God forbid when I start playing ball again, I don't want to get hurt. You know what I mean? Whatever. But speaking of basketball, and we're talking about boxing, let's get to the main thing. So we have Nate Robinson versus Jake Paul. Now, for those of y'all young who listen to the thing, y'all understand. Like Jake Paul is a YouTube guy. I don't really know much about him. I just know his brother Logan Paul, and I know of them, the Paul worker. They've been doing a lot of dumb stuff. They got banned from Japan. They they had like another like boxing event where they fought on a boxing event in the UK because they was fighting against other YouTubers. Like this black YouTuber named KSI from UK fought Logan Paul, the older brother, and he beat him. They drew the first time and he beat him the second time. KSI beat Logan Paul. And then in that same fight card, the younger brother, Jake Paul, fought KSI's younger brother and he ended up edging him out in the boxing match. So he's a YouTube sensation. Nate Robinson, as we all know, 3-time NBA slam dunk champ, 5'3" on a good day. Had like 40-something inch vertical.
He's 5'8".
Right? Whatever. Right? I thought they said 5'3", whatever. He 5-something, right? And the cat, was athletically gifted. The man played football, tried out for the Seattle Seahawks, everything. Like the kid is dope. He don't play in the NBA anymore. His skill set and his ability.
He was in the big three.
He was in the big three. He was killing, but whatever. But I thought that Jake Paul called him out, but apparently he called out Jake Paul. He's like, I'm getting tired of these YouTubers, and they can just come against these athletes and et cetera, and et cetera. And I want to fight them. And you know me, and I'm not trying to be thing. I was rooting for Nate. I know Nate. He looks like me in a sense. Not really look like me because honestly, he got washed. But you can read between the lines. And I'm not a hater like that. So if you're a good fighter, you're a good fighter. But I'm kind of annoyed at them Paul brothers and these YouTubers too. However, Jake Paul went in there and he knocked him clean out, embarrassingly. And you know how the internet works very fast. The thousand of memes that I have been seeing about Nate Robinson right now has been very sad to see. And that fight was so bad.
Listen,
and I'm gonna
let that last one.
Brown, you saw the fight? You saw the fight? Huh?
It was only a 2-round
fight. All right, so you go ahead. You go ahead and Hollister and then Malik, and then I'll go. Go ahead.
Listen, it was a competitive draw. Everything was competitive until that bell rang, and I didn't see anything from Nate that gave him a shot. To be honest with you, okay, everything was good until the bell rang. Everything was good till the bell rang, and that second round, all right, that was utter ridiculous. Like I thought that the referee should have stopped that right before the final knockout. He should have stopped it. I forgot how many times he got dropped in the second round. To be honest with you,
twice.
I thought it was 3, but okay,
3 total.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he had so he had 3. So 1 wasn't in the first round, the second round. Three wasn't. All 3 wasn't in the second round, right?
I think 2 was in the second round.
Yeah, right. Cause listen, man, I didn't watch the whole thing. I was skimming through a lot, and I kind of wanted to get to the knockdown. So, So I didn't see the first round knockout, but that bell rang, and it was pretty much over. To be honest with you, the second knockdown, which was the first one in the second round, I thought he was done. His eyes were looking like he looked like he was about to go to sleep before that final knockdown. So he was there, he was standing in the turnbuckle. The referee's like, "Oh, you want to continue?" He's like, "Yeah." Nah, you can't ask fighters that, because a lot of times fighters are gonna always say yeah. It's once in a while you'll get a guy that say, "Nah, I'm done. I'm finished. I don't want to continue."
Roberto Duran.
But allegedly he said no mas, but whatever. But the referee should have took into consideration also, he's not a professional fighter. He hasn't had any professional experience. He was fighting him in basketball shoes too, as Snoop Dogg was talking about. And then he got knocked out, and Snoop made it so entertaining. And I don't even want to get into what Snoop was doing, but it was just hilarious. But when he got dropped, that first fight, the first time, which was the second one in the second round, the first knockdown in the second round, that referee should have stopped it. Nate was done. You saw it in his face. Yeah. It didn't even. I don't even think it was 10 seconds later when the final, when Nate, you know how that looked. That looked like, when you come home, you go somewhere late, you change your clothes, and you just, throw yourself on your bed. That's how he looked like. He just threw himself on the bed. Like, it looked like he was ready to go to sleep. I thought he was done with this fight, and he just, it looked like you just throw yourself on your bed, man. It was just pretty sad to see Nate like that, because Nate is a tough dude. Like, in the NBA, he was a tough dude, and he didn't back down for nobody. So this kind of, he's gonna get cracked on for a few weeks, but I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna get on, because this generation now, everything is short term with them, so they'll get over it real quick, and people are gonna see after a while. Because right now he's the butt of everybody's jokes. So now everybody, after this couple weeks died out, everybody's gonna see, give him his props, because I don't think none of y'all would have went in there, because people probably would have been scared that as much as everybody hate the Paul boys and stuff, people probably would have been scared. Like, I don't want to go in there. He get lucky and hit me and knock me out. And Nate had the balls to go in there, call him out, and took that chance. But it didn't work out for him, and he's gonna be a meme for a while. Yeah, but you got to give him his props. I'm glad he's okay too, because he gave a report about being okay and everything. So just glad. And it's just, damn, man, that was just bad. Whew. Man, he went to sleep, boy. Y'all go ahead. Y'all can. Man, I'm still kind of, because the phone was on mute. I was on mute when you sent the group text. I'll let you talk about that, Mike. But yeah, I was still seeing you showed me.
But yeah, man, like you said, it was bad, man. Like, so yeah, this is mentally. But yeah, so like you said, man, it was bad. They was like, he looked good. He looked like he was training. They was talking about he was training. Afterward, I think they were saying he was only training from like August, but they were saying he was training like 6 days a week. I don't know. They was like, he hit up Mayweather for pointers. I don't know. I don't know about all that or what pointers he got, but I thought he took it more serious, or he maybe had like, a little more background or something. Some people on the side or as a hobby or for workouts, they take up certain things. So I thought maybe he probably did some light boxing, just, in his, athletic days, as part of his training, whatever. And then he took it a little more serious leading up to this thing. But I mean, he ain't look like he really, knew what he was doing. Like he would really probably have much sparring. I don't know if he was mainly hitting the bags or something like that. And, sparring is way different than, just, doing combos or hitting the bag and doing stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm sure he sparred some, but I don't know how much. But, and yeah, I guess to give him a little credit too, he was the shorter guy. And, and if you don't know what you're doing, it's kind of harder when, if another person knows how to use the reach and distance and things like that. Because, you got to use your speed and technique to get in, in those kind of cases. So, he definitely ain't have that. So, but like you said, man, I give him credit for stepping up and, to take that challenge. That's out of his element. He called out the guy, he stepped up and he went out there. He did it. I mean, unfortunately, it wasn't a good look for him. But, at the end of the day, I'm glad he didn't get hurt. And, it did add to the whole overall entertainment of everything. A lot of people talking about it. I know then Jake Paul out here calling out McGregor and all this other kind of stuff. I guess he was feeling himself. But
he need to stop that. He need to stop that.
So
yo, they call him out.
Yeah, so I mean, he was out though too, man. I felt I was worried, man, because it took a minute. They was trying to like get him up, put him on a little stool or whatever. He was out, man. Like so, but obviously he was able to eventually, snap out of it, and I know like some of the NBA cats was like, clowning him, some other people. 'Cause I know he was really trying to, like, he was representing them, and so I mean, it is what it is. Like you said, it's a moment in your life. You know, people take L's sometimes, and you know he'll be all right overall. And but yeah, it was definitely entertaining, definitely crazy, and I did feel, you know, I felt for him.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But
So to me, the fight was over from before the bell even rang, because Jake Paul he had one fight under his belt already. He came out. You can see he was ready for it. From the time the bell rang, Nate Robinson came out to his corner, not doing no kind of defensive techniques. He just had his whole hands out, face all open. So Jake Paul was easily getting to his face, even though Jake Paul did have the reach and height advantage. But Nate Robinson, oh my goodness, he talked about he was training with Mayweather. He need to learn some defensive techniques because he had absolutely none. And then he got knocked down 3 times. Oh Lord, it was terrible for him. It was entertaining for most people, but it was really terrible. He need to not do this again. He need to just leave it to the other people, to the professionals, and just do commentary or something. And for those that didn't see the fight, go watch it and just listen to Snoop Dogg's commentary. It's pure classic. And then also go look at the memes. But Nate Robinson, I do give him some credit for actually going in there, because some people, all these people that's trolling, talk about, oh, yeah, I would have did this, but the opportunity presented itself, they wasn't going to do it. And oh man, Nate just leave the boxing to everybody else. Now all these other basketball players and say they want to crack at Jake Paul. Now Lance Stevenson was saying that and all of this stuff. So let's see what happens next. But Nate, just leave it alone. You gonna leave it where
Yeah, I think
everybody
he didn't really
until the end of the
respect
year.
the sport enough, and he probably ain't really. He probably thought, all right, I'm an athlete. I'll just go in there and do my thing, and yeah, nah.
yeah, man,
Like,
you're 100% right. And man, it's like it is sad. And like I said, man, I'm not a professional fighter. I'm decent. I had been trained in, like, Muay Thai, and even before I was doing that, like I was explaining to Melick and them, there's certain things you just gotta know. And when I watched Nate Robinson approach that fight, and when he was just shooting out at him, with not protecting his grill, with his chin up, it's like it was just a matter of time. And Jake Paul, I give him a little bit of credit because he had boxed before. Like, his brother took it seriously. They was training with MMA guys and training with, freaking real professional trainers that train like real boxers and stuff like that. They were doing it when they had their YouTube fight thing, like a couple of years ago on that pay-per-view. So he actually took it seriously, you know what I'm saying, and got a pro card and different things like that. Whereas Nate Robinson felt that this is like some Joes versus pros type of thing, and he just came in there with like limited boxing skills and figured like, yo, my athleticism, my speed, and my strength is going to get me through this, and it didn't. And like I said, it could have been nerves, it could have been the fact that he was overthinking it. But to say you was training since August when the fight originally was supposed to be in September, right? That don't make no sense to me. Like, these guys been training years doing this, and I'm not trying to say like Jake Paul is some, super efficient boxer, because I felt that if I was like to be on that and I took a few months to train, I'd knock him out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about Nate, I'm talking about Jake, right? Because he got caught with basic stuff, an overhand right that got him a little bit behind the ear and the back of the head. That's the drop in the first time. The second drop, he just threw him on the floor because Nate was just running there trying to like grab him like his MMA. So he threw him on the ground, and Nate probably was still getting rocked from it. And then he caught him with a right hook because Nate was not guarding, had his chin up, throwing these long extended punches, not protecting himself, and the dude slipped one in and caught him. So it's sad because, like I was saying, like, like you had Nick Young talking about, oh, he does not represent the NBA family. You got a screenshot from like Steph Curry where Nate Robinson like, yo, at Steph, Steph Curry, I'm gonna shock the world, and then Steph Curry replying, yeah, you sure did. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got other people like that. The amount of memes that we put memes in the joint. You got Jake Paul right now wearing his jersey, Nate Robinson jersey, and posing in it, like the ultimate disrespect. And it's like, he's a YouTuber. His reach is big, and I'm not trying to say that Nate Robinson not a big celebrity in his own right, but it's like the casual fan, the young kid's gonna look at Jake Paul like, yo, he washed his ex-NBA player. So now his stock increases. Nate is gonna be like a laughing stock for a hot minute. The internet is cruel. It's just a sad thing. Like, I wasn't paying attention to Snoop's commentary because I was back and forth. I was just watching it, and I was dealing with Savannah. But it just to see it was crazy. It was just
commentary.
Yeah, man, it was just bad. And like when Tyron said he didn't have a basketball shoe, he did it was like freaking like what was that thing like Def Jam, like that Def Jam fighting game? Like we thought it was
Def Jam
that.
Vendetta.
Yeah, Def Jam Vendetta. He thought it was that wearing basketball shoes and coming there. Well, he's gonna come in there with his jersey too, represent the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, it's like when you see that, it's just a sad thing, man. And it's like, you know, out of all the fights, like even if he would have lost and he had he went, you know, the distance. All right, you know what I mean? Like that's respectable, but to get knocked out the way he did, it looked so bad that you know how you watch like Martin or a TV show, like I thought it was fake, but he was snoring, he was slept. You know what I'm saying? Feet crossing, all that. Couldn't even get up. You know what I'm saying?
Had to pull his feet apart.
You know,
yeah.
I figured out. I figured out why he got knocked out like that.
What?
I figured it out. It's the Knicks colors he was wearing, man.
Yeah, that's what people say.
That Knicks color, that's bad luck.
Mixtape, like, you know,
there's
Knicks stay losing.
Nothing good. Nothing good comes out of wearing Knicks colors, man. Yeah. That's why I'm like, you need to just go all the way 100% Brooklyn Net, man. I mean, I'm not a Brooklyn Net fan, but I'd advise you to just take that other 50% or 45% of your fandom off of the Knicks and just go 100% with the Brooklyn Nets. That team is gonna do nothing but hurt you, bro. I'm hurt that you say you like the Knicks. It hurts me because I have to hear you talk. When we do the other shows and we're talking about, you know,
you breaking up, Aaron. We can't really hear you.
Know what certain team needs. I hear the pain in your voice.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yeah, we get you now.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying that. I hear him talking about when we're talking about team need improvements, and I hear the pain in his voice when he's talking about the Knicks, and I'm like, just take your whole fandom, the remaining fandom you have as the Knicks, and put it with the Nets, because they're not gonna bring nothing but pain to your heart, and it hurts me to see that you like the Knicks, and just. You know, let Nate Robinson be an example to you. He's not even playing basketball anymore. You're not even playing basketball no more. He's boxing. He wore the Knicks colors and still lost.
I don't call what he was boxing, by the way.
I know, but he was in a boxing ring. I know what he was in a boxing ring. And when he was wearing those Knicks colors, you see Roy Jones was wearing some Kobe stuff, and it was a draw. I mean, he didn't win the fight, but it was a draw. You know, Nate Robinson went there with Nick Guerin, got knocked out cold. He's the butt of every joke. He's the laughing stock of the event, like the Knicks.
Yeah,
it's just like the Knicks.
It
doesn't matter what sport it is. You wear something with the Knicks on it, you're either gonna get knocked out or lose.
Or
embarrassed. I mean, it is tough, man. Like you said, man. It just like I said, I seen like. It was for those of you who play Call of Duty, they had him like his body knocked out in the gulag where you got to come back to the respawn. They had him like on like one of those kind of Tempur-Pedic commercial where they have him laying on the bed like he's sleeping. They got another one he's in the record like Hennessy and me saying that. Then they got another one where like they got all of our like, you know, black forefathers like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and all these other Marcus Garvey. I'm looking at him like in despair, like wow, you just got rocked and you like laid out, and then you got so many different memes with this cat. Like
they got the Martin one.
Yeah, they got the Martin one. They got even a picture when they show like Roy Jones.
With all the lumps?
Yeah, exactly. They even show one with like Mike Tyson and Roy Jones in the ring getting their hands raised. And they said, "Oh, Nate's still in there." And they put like a Photoshop of his body still in the ring behind them. It's like it's so bad that it's just become a laughing stock. And like I said, you know, we are upset about it because you know we are rooting for Nate. You know what I'm saying? Those of us who were, right? But then I had to tell myself, you know what, Michael? Imagine how he feel. You know what I'm saying? Like he gotta wake up in the morning with a ringing headache, right? He gotta look at the video, see what happened. Cause you know when you get knocked out a lot, so you don't know what happened. Then he gotta watch the fact that Jake Paul was talking crazy about him afterwards. Not really too disrespectful, but like, yeah, you know, blah, blah, blah. He called me out and all this coming out. We were playing basketball. Like he really was like rubbing it in and then wearing his jersey and talking about he want to fight Conor McGregor and looking like he just like destroyed you and like celebrating. And then you got your peers in the NBA clowning you, and all the times you was acting tough. They like you can't even talk tough no more, cause like you know how we are in the community. Like, oh, you gonna come in there? Yeah, you don't know, man. You don't know who I be. Like, yeah, I know you. I saw you get knocked out by Jake Paul. Yeah, I saw that. How you sleep? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, now like his whole like persona, his whole like demeanor is like, you know, diminished. So like he kind of like
let me say something. Let me say something important. This is very important. Jake Paul need to stop with that Conor McGregor talk. Like this is, I'm being serious now. Let's just,
of course.
I just want to change the tone for a second. He needs to stop. This is not Nate Robinson you fight. That's not a basketball player you would be fighting. You're fighting a full-fledged trained MMA fighter who actually doesn't have boxing experience, but he did fight one fight and it was against Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
And although Floyd let him stay in the fight, he made him look pretty good. Or just because Floyd let him, but I'm just saying, like he did.
Yeah.
So chill out with
he is a fighting guy. He is a very smart fighter either way. But like you said, like it comes to traditional boxing a little bit different. And also his older brother talking about he want to fight Floyd Mayweather. He clowning Floyd on the internet, talking about, oh, Floyd decided a contract. I know you probably have problems. I thought it was like you was being scared, but I figured it out. You have problems, spelling your own name. Let me help you out. He put like papers on the wall that sped Floyd Mayweather and then the W, and the Mayweather fell. He said, don't worry about the W because you ain't gonna get the W. I'm gonna give you your first L. Now, granted, they're in two different weight classes. And if I was Floyd in them, I wouldn't waste my time because I think Floyd put a clinic on him. Floyd would put a clinic on him, but it's like, why even do it?
They're just looking for more subscribers today.
Yeah, exactly. And then not only that, it's like, look, you fight Floyd, like it's a win-win for you. If you Logan Paul, you beat him, you the first man to give him an L. Even if you lose, you still fought him and got him to fight you. So either way, it's a win-win for you.
I know. Listen, Mike, I know how Floyd operates. Floyd probably saw that and just clicked to something else. Floyd probably just clicked to something else, man. That's nothing to Floyd.
I agree. I'm just saying that, it's just funny to
me. Worry about Floyd.
Like, I mean, Floyd, I know you're not really thinking about him, but I think that, the call out Conor McGregor, they already know Conor McGregor's not going to fight. So they already know that. So my thing is that at the end of the day, you just feel like, kind of like make noise and look cool.
Yeah.
We already know that.
You sound far away, Mike.
It ain't gonna happen. Yeah. It's not gonna happen. So Conor McGregor will destroy. And my thing is that I know other basketball players might want to try to jump in the ring and do that. I'm just like, yo, man, this, I get it, but just leave it alone.
Evan Turner said he want to fight Jake Paul now.
Yeah.
Evan Turner.
Turner.
Yeah.
Evan Turner. Well, he's a little bit taller and he has a reach. He does have a reach.
But I mean, it's not only about that. I know how you feel, but
just no.
He getting the clout.
You ain't a fighter, bro.
No, but what I was getting ready to say after that is just learn from Nate. Just learn from what happened to Nate last night.
All these four brothers
just stick to basketball. Let them stick to YouTube fighting.
All they just looking for is clout. That's all they looking for. Cause they trying to call out everybody now.
I mean, look, man, they've been playing. I mean, look, they can, like I said, they can fight. So not to say they crash.
Listen,
but
Mike, listen, they calling out these big celebrity names. That's top people in their specific sport, but he just beat a guy that wasn't the most popular guy in the NBA. It's not like he knocked out Kevin Durant, or LeBron James or something. Like, it was Nate Robinson. Don't get me wrong, Nate Robinson was nice, but he was never considered a superstar. So how you go from Nate Robinson to Conor McGregor is beyond me. So they it's like what they said. They're looking for popularity, and let them have it, man. Listen, he knocked him out, so he's gonna gain a little steam from this. It is what it is, man.
Yeah, I agree. You go ahead, Mel, if you got anything you want to say.
But yeah, I mean, like obviously it's definitely mostly about him just trying to, create some buzz and just be like feeling himself, be extra over the top. Cause he know like Conor ain't no joke. One, he's a trained fighter, not even though he's an MMA guy. It's a lot of boxing in there. He literally trained in boxing for like a good bit of time before he fought Mayweather. And he was about to fight Pacquiao. And like you said, obviously Floyd did want to make it entertaining some. So I know he wasn't, fighting him like he would fight, Pacquiao or somebody else, but he still was able to, show some technique and some skill at points in the ring with Floyd. So McGregor ain't no joke. Like, so he got a long way to go for that. So, and obviously McGregor ain't got nothing to really gain by doing that. He got plenty of other big name people he could fight and do all that kind of stuff. So I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
he gonna believe in himself. He feeling himself, but yeah, you think he got a chance? Then nah. And
I
yeah, as
respect
far as
it.
some of these other guys, yeah, they, if you going want to do something like this, like Tom said, learn from him, take it serious, train, see what you got, spar with real people who know what they doing, and like train for and really train and go out there and have somebody. If you're gonna do it, also have somebody with your close to your level of experience. So I'm like, yo, if it was two people who like they had no boxing experience and they're like, we going 6 months, we gonna fight, you know what I mean? That's a little different too, because y'all both, are training for around the same amount of time, starting from the same place. It could be something like that, but yeah, just don't think you could like just walk out the street and train for a month or something like that and fight somebody that, once again, we're not saying that Jake Paul is some seasoned boxer, but he had way more training than Nate, and that was clear. So yeah, man, I mean, it'll be interesting to see whatever moves they try to make, and also what Tyson might try to do with this Legends thing, if he will work with them again, or what platforms these different things might lead to. So yeah, it should be interesting to see.
Yep.
I mean, like, man, that is true. But I mean, that's pretty much sums it up for today. I mean, like, that's the main thing in everybody's mind. I mean, we're not even talking about the UFC card, because that wasn't really too exciting after the main event got kind of canned because of the COVID situation. But it is what it is. Like I said, I said it already, hit the nail on the head. You want to be like Nate, you gotta take it seriously. You can't take your opponent lightly, man. It's like you ain't a Mayweather to say you can take your opponent lightly and come in there kind of like not fully prepared, but can still get the job done like Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? But you got to do what you got to do. But unless you guys have anything else to say, we can wrap it.
Nope.
All good here.
Okay.
Same.
All right. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys again for listening to the podcast. I want to thank you guys again for joining us. Thanks Melik, Tyrone, and Hollister again for your time. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of your week. God bless.